Most of African countries were colonized. So when they were colonized, uh, colorism became mostly a center stage. So to say you're black or you're white. Uh, Mental ability, you know, to either use you in a different way, abuse you, beat you up, plantation rules, or you're useful. The mind works. So not everyone during slave trade was a slave. Not every black person on this earth, on this Africa, was a slave. Not every black person's heritage went through slavery. Some of them were kings, remained kings, the bloodline. Some of them went through hardships, whatnot, whatnot, whatnot. So we cannot then distort our history as a black people, as an African people, by saying it's actually colonial design that made us all poor and we were never. No, no, no. There was a chapter before colonial design. So status, finance, and resources is part of those colonial designs. So if you didn't have money, if you were black, well, you would be a slave. If your mental ability was not catching up, for example, you will be a slave. And then some will end up being so-called Uncle Toms. We'll speak about that. So resources. Do you have land? And if you have got that land, do you think? So if you've got land and you think you can make business, then you're not going to let go of that land easily and whatnot, sell that land and whatnot. You're going to actually maybe trade to see how can you engage in business with whoever is trying to engage you. Behavior control. So part of, colonial design was to control because Africans were uncontrollable sometimes, amongst ourselves. So if our unity is complicated, it's because we fight one another. We fight anything that sometimes distract or comes in our way of personal goals or personal victories. So behavior control was part of that colonial design, and I don't know if it's true or if it's a legit thing, but according to Zim's history, apparently the British did not want to colonize Zimbabwe. They wanted to make money with the Zimbabweans. Ian Smith then saw black folks, for example, as being useless and whatnot, and then colonized them. But that was not really like part of the agenda, but then that became the agenda. But if you also look at how other African countries were colonized and whatnot, I don't know, then it's so different. But I definitely want to believe that there were good people and bad people in every situation. But yes, then after colonization, things got tense, and that's a whole different story. So colonial design wasn't just to make black people go extinct and stuff like that. Nah, people will always take opportunities. You trying to do business with anyone, and if they sound weak or you think you can take advantage. So that's just how life works. And if people come to you and they always come to you for advice and stuff, you may think now you're their boss and stuff like that. So over time, we don't know what actually happened. So I'll not just want to give credit everything and just power to colonial design, because then you giving yourself misery and pain, because you're giving power to something actually that sometimes don't even exist like that. So law structures, rules, and the 1%. So they have to create law structures. Some of the laws that are being broken now and whatnot, these laws are good for us as human beings because that's how we live together. Rules, on how to engage, on how to do this, transportation, education, work, living, human life conditions. There's different rules, and then there's courts and stuff like that. So then that's law and order. So without law and order, human beings, we are chaotic. There can never be peace. Without law and order. So law and order is quite good, but yeah, in Africa when it came with the colonial design. So now it affects most of our children, because not necessarily that white people are mistreating black people, African people in a sense, but African people, we all black and white mixed. So it's not like necessarily white people are oppressing black people. It's just like the colonial designed the system that was created is being used by other black Africans to control and manipulate the system and misgovern their own people. So thing like white supremacy, white supremacy, it will then exist to people who are looking at being recognized in that realm of different powers, because say you go to Germany, it's white people, presumably. If you're gonna look at colorism, say it's white people, okay? They built Germany, so they will call rules, they will call order and stuff like that. You go to America, people who build America, of course, is part of the slaves and the white folks. So then they'll have to somehow share power. So it will go to what I'm gonna actually just describe now in terms of elite levels, conditioning and programming. So white supremacy, okay, is it really there everywhere? Or when you try to find it, then you get it. Because my family is black, is white, is colored, it's Chinese, I have multi-racial people, As I wear these colors, they symbolize Zimbabwe, they symbolize the people that I have. So I barely let white supremacy or what people call white supremacy interfere or interact with my mental thinking, because I'm liberty, man, and I believe in myself, I build myself ground up. I get help from all different types of people, and the type of people that I engage with, my friends, my customer base, be it my business relationships. These are elite levels, and people understand lib. You are who you are. They are who they are. So there's structures in how someone will understand you and not understand you. So then I understood when I was just in my early 20s. At some point, just like complaining, blaming this one, that one, crying, because just getting into South Africa, things were tense. So you find that I got it in my mind, because I had no one to complain to or cry to and stuff like that. That, you know what, Lib, you have nobody. You're going to just cry and complain and stuff, or you're going to actually work hard to understand yourself and how you can help yourself now that you're here on this earth and now that you're here in this South Africa, in these tough conditions. So white supremacy for me, even from Zim, I never looked at it like that, because that was just not my upbringing. So I didn't look at it in that manner. I knew we were colonized and we were disadvantaged in that, but things were to progress, things progressed. So the systems that they build, anyone who will build a system like Lib Connect Africa, for example, they will remember it always. I founded it, I created it. If it becomes what it becomes in the future, there's footsteps of who built what. So let's not have jealousy and call everything perhaps maybe white supremacy, because when we do that, we will find that, we'll have everything of a problem with someone black, of which I'll explain now, of which if a black person is either friends with a white person, it's a problem. If a black person is not friends with a white person, it's a problem. So we should have this thing of, we don't see color like that. We just start to intertwine, because we're just moving ourselves. We think we're moving ourselves forward, but we're not. Technology and all these systems, they're improving and stuff, but human being conditions and behavior is getting worse. So that's really, really dangerous. So we, as a black folk, we have got different narratives of thinking, and that either progresses us or it moves us backwards. So when we cry, we don't cry and look at ourselves and inside and just leave it there. Sometimes we want to blame this one, sometimes we want to blame that one, and most times, of course, the worst. So the worst, when they get blamed, then that means, Africans won't take responsibility. So if Africans are not taking responsibility, it means then African unity is, again, complicated. We were colonized by different regimes. the French speakers, the English speakers, the Portuguese speakers. We don't understand each other, on foundation. Our way of sometimes doing things, business structures. It's tough to mend with an African. Why? Some will say, okay, white people don't like that. Not really, actually. No, white people actually like black people to mend so that we can progress the world, man. But the problem is sellouts, you see. Sellouts, they'll come and talk to a black person nice, and then they'll go and talk to a white person nice, and then they'll confuse. And the same with other races. I'm black, so I'm not going to speak for white as if I'm white. I'm African, so I'm going to speak African. So African is all of us. That's why I'll bring then white people, Chinese people in Africa, Indian people, colored people are black, right? That's to me, So at the end of the day, we have a lot, man, So we think white people or the West, some black people, and this is not all of us. This is just, I'm an African person who thinks the way I think and the way I see things. And part of seeing things is the way I've developed and grew to understand people and how things work. So when I see a lot of our people cry, or black people, majority of those who are not in conditions that favors them, they think white people keep us down. How are you being kept down? That's a broad topic, because someone keeping you down, they have to actually have keys and control to your entire life, from when you leave the house in the morning and decide to even go to that person, decide to even work that day. It's all choices that people make. So then we can't say they keep us down or why people don't want us to rise. No, they actually do. You have to rise mentally and focus. So it's not about a black person don't even want you to rise if you're not moving with proper focus. So at the end of the day, it's like, bruh, who you rising with? You rise alone. You rise alone if you're moving in ways that are not understood. They fear us. No one fears anyone. Human beings think, everything is about power, it's about strength, it's about, I'm bigger than you, I'm better than you. Nah. No one fears no one. Maybe white people think black people fear, but I know most black people think that, no, white people just fears. Or maybe white people, some of them think that we black people fear them. Why should we live in such conditions of programming? It's hectic. We can just have love, So I know that majority of the white people out there that I know, that I move with, my crew, my team, my fam, my associates, they don't even think about none of this. This is out of their realm because they focus, man. When you know yourself and you find you're just happy in your life, you don't worry about nothing. I find that now, okay, so when you start a topic like this ZDP now with certain people who are like, okay, leave what's going on and stuff like that, do you just sometimes keep quiet? Or sometimes do you progress the talk? I'm here to progress the African talk. It's very important to be progressed because if we don't progress it, then there's no African unity, there's no African development, there's nothing. So, white people are different. How are they different? You see these colors here? They're all different colors, right? But they make this scarf. And this scarf is beautiful, right? With this hat. So if you take this black skin, white skin, whatever the skin you want to call it, it's all beautiful, it's all one thing. So there's no difference. What's different is in your head and how you're visualizing whatever you're looking at. So you have whatever you're saying that person is. There's power in trying to condition someone to be what you say you want them to be, but sometimes you are that. So forcing matters to stick into the head is different. White people are superior to who? Anyone is superior to anyone whom they want to be superior to. You allow anyone to be superior to you, they will be superior to you. It's different dynamics, you know. Sellouts will leave people in a state of vulnerability. So then there will be superiority complexes from people who are vulnerable, who will think, they're superior. Nah, you're superior if you actually do things different and in your own unique stance. You rise your grind, you will be superior, but it's not superior as in showing off superior. You know, many people admire people who are really like all together. Many people admire people who really bring things together dope, but they just don't want to talk about it. They don't want to applaud that. So instead, they call names like superior, you know, fierce, you know. They don't want us to rise, you know. They keep us down. No, they don't. They're good white people and they're bad white people. They're good black people, they're bad black people. So me, I always look at life in a parallel. I know we one people, but we parallel. You know, we just come in different forms, man. So that's a different whole dynamic.